Hey everybody, this is Al with El Rey Collection. Hope you're doing well today. I've got a lot of requests over the last few months, especially probably the last 6 weeks or so, of people with pinging me with questions, with a ton of them being related to Messi rookie cards. And I thought, based on the back of another video that I did about the relative value of Messi and Ronaldo cards versus other goats, I already had a lot of data, and so I decided to look into to answer kind of broadly the question of the best Messi rookie cards. So I decided to put together a video. A lot of information is generally known, but I think here you'll find a lot of it consolidated in a relatively easily digestible format. So I'll try to answer that question. Unfortunately, I have to kind of go through the the my disclaimers here. Hang on, and I guess I can put my slides on the stage. So here we go. So this is again my best Messi rookie cards, just by the data, without emotion. Of course, I'll share some of my perspectives on this, but I think it should be I think quite an interesting discussion. So we will now, unfortunately, go through this disclaimer. Let me take myself out of this. Can I even do this? Well, the most important thing is this is not investment advice. I am a registered investment advisor, but I'm not telling you or anyone else to invest in soccer cards now or ever. You should always, talk to your own advisors about what investments you should make, and anything that I say in here is not meant to project anything in the future. This is meant to be fun, not investment advice. Okay. And so again, let's go through kind of, if you watch my other video, a lot of this will be kind of repeat in terms of my approach. I use a market cap approach, which tries to calibrate the amount of items out there versus the actual price. So obviously, if a card has very few copies and a high price, it may seem like that high price is that card is more expensive. But on a relative term, when you actually multiply by the number of copies that are out there, it actually may look like it's a lower price. And I use this market cap thing, which is very common in stocks, to kind of calibrate relative valuation, which is also something that many other stock pickers try to do. So I'm kind of bringing that mentality into the cards. And again, if you want to see my other video on the goats cards, please do. I released it a couple weeks ago. I'm sure you can find it in probably my market commentary section of my YouTube channel. So I'm using market cap. That's number one. This data, I pulled it at the end of last month, so it's about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks old. I have made some adjustments to some of the data, and I'll show you kind of in the appendix. None of it really changes. Those adjustments don't really change the overall perceptions of, or my, I guess, takeaways and thoughts about this. I also have, I'm only using PSA pops for analysis of this, and that does matter. For instance, the 71 bis, only about half of the 71 bis copies are in PSA holders, whereas about 75% of the Mundi Chromo are in PSA holders. So effectively what that does is it makes the Mundi Chromo PSA market cap look higher on a relative basis than the Messi 71 bis, because there's a lot of Messi 71 bis, particularly in Beckett holders, and a few in SGC. But there's going to be some of those niggles along the way. Look, you can get into the data, you can include them all. I did some basic sensitivities, and it doesn't change any of my thoughts. But ultimately, you do you, and you understand from a numbers perspective what you feel comfortable, so quote unquote, underwriting in your beliefs. And then I made some extrapolations on some data where Card Ladder didn't have certain grades. Again, doesn't change the things, but just for sake of transparency. And then there's definitely some inconsistencies in the data. For instance, a PSA 7 Mundi Chromo has a lower price than a PSA 6. I didn't make any changes for that. I just took, again, the card ladder data. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think there's no right or wrong answer here. There's a bunch of subjective stuff, even though I try to look at it without emotion, as you'll see kind of in the end. And I own, as a disclosure, I own all of these Messi cards and duplicates of many of them. And I actually have a couple actually for sale on various platforms. So it's not that I don't believe in these cards. I believe in them. I have just a massive position, and I'm trying to rotate some things into some vintage categories that haven't run as much as Messi, to be completely transparent. So this analysis is meant to be directional, but it can also give you guys the ability to calibrate your own thoughts and preferences. And again, not investment advice. So with all that, let's just jump right into an explanation of Messi cards. And I think a lot of people that are new to the market may not have a full understanding of Messi cards. So I want to, you know what? And I think this may be easier if let's see how this one works. No. Okay, sorry for that. I guess I'll leave this format. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know how big or small it is on your screen, but on the left you have 4 cards. Well, 4 cards and 1 sticker that are traditionally pack pulls, like things from a very large set. You may see, up here in the top left right here, you have let's see if I can get the pointer right here. That's the famous 71 bis Mega Cracks card. To its right, you have the Mundi Chromo. Down here, you have the Este sticker, which was ultimately purchased in the time of this issue by Panini, and I'll come back to that in a second. And then here's a Mundi Chromo foil. This is the 4-person card, the foil and the regular version. So these you would get in packs, and those packs, for those of you who saw me rip a Mega Cracks box, you would also buy the Mundi Chromo. They'd come out of the green and white boxes here for Messi rookies, and then the Este stickers would come out of sticker packs. I have some of those. I don't have a full box, but you could actually pull that Messi sticker there. So I'm going to go one by one in some of the really nuances and I think very interesting things. The 71 bis was issued in the third series of the 2004-5 Mega Cracks. It's only in the third series. It's kind of like the update where they replaced players. Messi came in, at the end of the season, and he replaced the other card 71, which right now is skipping my mind. And so that's why it's 71 bis. He's the replacement for the other 71 card because he actually finished the season playing on the team. So that's kind of an end of the year issue. It's the third series of the Mega Cracks box. Then next to that, you have the Mundi Chromo, which is probably the first one issued in like a regular pack. So if you were thinking about the first issued Messi card on a mass production level, it would probably be this Mundi Chromo. I can't tell you exactly the dates, but just from a general feel, that set lasted for the entire season. As did the Este sticker. So, that's down here. And there's a couple different versions of this because Panini had a printing press, as did Este. So you'll see there's a couple different versions. And there have been some fakes, unfortunately. Actually, some fakes of all of these cards, but particularly the Este sticker, which did end up in some other third-party holders. And as far as I know, I think PSA maybe had one that got through, but that's probably one thing that they stopped grading it for a period of time until they could be certain that these stickers are in fact legitimate. And so now I think PSA grades those again. And then next to it, you have the 2 Mundi Chromos, the 4-person kind of rookie card, which has the foil version and the base version. And again, those are pack pulled. So those are the ones off to the left. Then the ones off to the right, also rookie cards issued at the end of the 24-25 season. And these were issued in the team store sets. And so there's two versions, one in Catalan, which is the native language of Catalunya, which is where Barcelona is based. And those are what are known as the Campios. And then there's the Spanish version, obviously for the rest of Spain. Well, outside of, I guess you could say, the Basque Country and Galicia. I guess there's a number of other languages in Spain, but it's generally accepted as the language of Spain. So the Campion were issued kind of more broadly. So also the Campion, for whatever reason that I've been unable to determine why, the Campion were also issued in Mexico. And I'm not sure how or why that happened, but there were definitely a lot of sales and distribution in Mexico. So bizarre. You don't typically see this, but maybe somebody from Panini Mexico just thought it was a good idea and knew that Barcelona was popular. And at this time, Messi's not even a popular player on Barcelona. This is much more of the Ronaldinho time than anything else. So anyway, I think it's really important to kind of understand, hey, before you pick which ones you like, what do you like? Do you like pack pull things? Do you like kind of updates? Do you like foils? Do you like these team sets? Do you go for visuals? Do you like stickers? Do you hate stickers? So all of this personal math kind of goes into what makes the best rookie card for you. And again, I'm just going to focus on the market caps and draw some conclusions and bring in some eye appeal and other things like that. But I think the important thing here is like, hey, if you're interested in the first issued Messi card from a mass produced and distributed set, well then Mundi Chroma is going to seem super interested into you. If you're interested in a set that is the sticker, in terms of stickers are important through the lineage of soccer collecting. Este had a long history of producing stickers, and Panini does as well. And Panini buying them makes the Este sticker quite interesting. If you are into like the updates, like baseball cards in the 1980s, the update sets, man, the Mega Cracks is hard to beat, especially because it's a card, it's pack pull. Clearly, it's a difficult pull. If you can't follow me on that, watch my video from a few weeks ago where I cracked an entire box of Mega Cracks and didn't get a Messi in the third series box. And then some people probably just focus on the images, which a lot of the images on the right-hand side of the pack pulled ones, of the team pulled ones, are quite interesting. All right. But let's get into some of the numbers now that we kind of explained the rookie cards. Hopefully that's, sorry if you already knew all that, but I think for a lot of new people, they just don't understand these differences. And also, also another thing I'd like to say on the team pulled ones, whether that's the Campion or the Campio, early PSA slabs sometimes mess these up. So you need to actually look at the card. And originally there was no differentiation between the Campion and the Campio. So there's still some slabs out there that are incorrect. So always, actually, let me go back and show you this. Always go back and look at these. Let's see. All right, I need to put my cursor on here. So you can see one says in the shields on all three of them, it says Campion. Okay, or it says Campio. So you can always look at the shield. On the actual flips, it'll sometimes, unfortunately, these are my cards, so they don't have the actual flips, but sometimes they'll say Campeones with like an EO, and that would be what would show up on the slab, or Campeones with an I, which would be the Catalan version. They have the same thing with Acción or Acción, but this can be a little confusing trying to find the autografo or autograph, right? So sometimes these are the words that are printed on the card, and that's how PSA usually puts it on their flip. They put, here's the Acción, here's the autografo, and here's the Campeones, right? So these are all on the card, but they're kind of like watermarks in the background, so you may not be able to see it. I immediately just jump to the shields, which are always in the upper left corner, and check the Campione versus Campio. So that's the easiest way for me. Whatever works for you, you do that. Okay. So here here are the market caps of the top key Messi cards. You can see the mega cracks, as we've all known, is absolute king. You know, it's significantly more market cap than anything, any other card. You know, and I had thought that the market, I know the market had given a premium to Campios, but man, when you look at the market cap, it's absolutely flipped. The Campiones, the Spanish ones, which have much higher pops, kind of dominate the Campios, which is a bit of a head scratcher to me. So, oh, you know what? I just noticed I had a banner on here. I'm going to take this off. And I should probably put something else on there, but whatever. So here's the top five. These are the top five Messi rookie cards by market cap. And there you go. You had the Mega Crash, not a surprise to anyone, by a factor of more than 5 over the Mundi Chromo, by a factor of almost 10 on the Campione 89, and a factor of more than 10 on the Campione 62 and 35. And this was a bit of a surprise to me. I think in general, people like the 35 first is the best one. I would say in general, and I'm actually going to include me in this group. And then probably the 62, and then followed by the 89 as the least favorite. And the 89 is running the day here from a market cap perspective, and not by a small margin. This is quite material margin. So let's move on to the next one and see the bottom 5 Messi rookies by market cap. So then we get, and this is fascinating. So the Campio does jump up ahead of the 89 when we're looking at the Campio versions. I'll skip over the Este sticker for a second. And now the 62 is below by a significant margin on the Campio, the Este sticker. So let's look at this again. Look at the relationship of the Campiones. You've got 6 million market cap for the 89, 4.3, and more or less pretty close, but still at a slight disadvantage, the 35. Then when you take the same cards in the Campio version, the rarer version, the 35 goes from last place to first place in the Campio version. The 89 slots down at 10% below the 35. And remember, in the Campione, it was 50% ahead of the 35. So now it's a 10% discount. And then we have the Campio as at less than half the Campio 62 at less than half of the 35. So that to me is another pretty massive head scratcher. Then we also have this the Este sticker with a market cap of $1.7 million. Let me just say, I mean, I know $1.7 million is a lot of money, but this means you could buy every PSA graded Messi Este rookie, his only sticker. You could buy them all for $1.7 million. Wow. Seems to me like shockingly low, right? I could probably look at, a number of modern cards, maybe not in soccer, but certainly like basketball or, MJ insert type stuff, or, that one of those cards would take over the entire pop of Messi Este stickers. That to me blows my mind. It also seems like this Campio, and actually, frankly, all of the Campios, are shockingly low relative to, they're rarer. They have the same exact image, so there's no like preference on your image. Unless you just like Spanish and hate Catalan, like why not go for the rarer versions, right? And then of course we have this. A lot of people don't like the 4-person Messi Mundi Chromo, and yeah, I get it. You flip it over. and it just doesn't look great. And in fact, a huge part of the value in those cards are really in the really high grades because it's hard to grade. So, but I get why people aren't super excited about those. But at the same time, on a relative basis, they are just really cheap, especially when you get away from the high grades. Although they have accelerated, like most Messis have over the past couple months. So this is just the facts, right? This isn't me haven't sharing any opinions. This is just, hey, this is what the market caps are. Take them or leave them. You could basically, though, if you go back to the previous slide where I got $54 million in the mega cracks, and if you added up all of these, you would not come even close to the mega cracks. So you could either have all the mega cracks rookies or all of the cards of all the other 10 rookies, all grades, and you wouldn't come to the same level. So clearly the mega cracks is like on a totally different level than everything else. Okay, so these are the facts. Now, what does that mean, right? Well, this is my hierarchy, and I all encourage you guys to do your own hierarchies and think about what is important to you. And I kind of do this, like as someone who plays poorly, kind of League of Legends. I kind of look at things in kind of a video game kind of tiering system where you got S tier, the best, the A tier, B tier, C tier, and I do this in my own. And this is where you get the subjective piece of this, because you have to have some subjective piece, because otherwise you just say that market cap data is what it is. That's what the market says. So there's no conclusion. So in order to get to a conclusion, I need to provide some relative preferences and then take into account the data, what the data says against those relative preferences. So here are the relative preferences that I'll share. And if you have different ones, fantastic. If you want to tell me what your preferences are and why, please do so in the comments below. By the way, please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me and the channel and makes me motivated to continue to do videos like this. So thanks for the like ahead of time and the subscribe if you're not subscribed. So here, what I do is I say, hey, look at clearly the mega cracks is the number one item, rookie item for Messi. It comes from an iconic set, beautiful card. It is a card, which a lot of people prefer. And, it comes out of this kind of rare, mega cracks, only 3rd series release. It just has so much going for it. So that's clearly the top. Then I think, my second favorite actually rookie is the Este sticker. And this is without respect to the market cap data. This is just, man, the lineage of both Este and Panini, the fact that it's a sticker and so many of these are stuck, the low pop in general, man, I think there's so much to love about that sticker. And then from an eye appeal perspective, which is really important in all cards, especially when you have many to choose from, I really put the 35 and specifically the Campio in this category. And I just personally love the headshot. It's iconic, shows very young Messi. It's in Catalan, which is someone who's lived in Barcelona. I think just makes it so cool. And so that's kind of my A tier. And I only have 2 cards in that. So I have 1 S tier, 2 A tiers. Then I have 3 B tiers. So effectively what I'm trying to do here is the A through B. These are my top 5 to 6, half of the Messi rookies. And then the C tier are the other ones that, are a little less attractive to me for various reasons. So in my B tier, you have the Mundi Chromo, which is a great, especially again, if you're interested in potentially the very first Messi rookie that was ever issued. You also have the number 62, and that number 62 would be the Campio. I just like it a little less than the 35 in terms of the visual on the card, but the fact that it's the Catalan version, I really like that, the rarity of it. And we'll get back to the market caps here in a second. And then I also just love the 35 so much that even the Campione 35 to me kind of fits in in a card that I would rather have than any of the ones to the right. So I'd still rather have the 35 Campeon, the Spanish version, than the 89 Campio Catalan version, just for personal preference. I just find it much, much more attractive from a card perspective, right? And again, you could have a different opinion and you would have a different tiering, and then you can calibrate your own against the market cap to determine, which ones you would buy, which ones you'd sell, which ones you're holding, which is where I'm trying to go with all this. Okay. So then the C tier are the other ones, and the other ones are both versions of the 89, the Campione and the Campione. Of course, I'd prefer the Campio to the Campione. It has half of the market cap, same visual. That seems to me like if there were just two Messi rookie cards, I'd be saying, go buy the Campio and go sell the Campione 89. If the 89, Panini Sports Mega Cracks here, the team issued ones were the only ones out there, I would say buy Campio and sell Campione. But in the context of the broader universe of Messi cards, I just don't love the 89, right? So again, the white borders kind of flushed out, takes a lot of his body out of the picture. You've got the signature that doesn't super resemble his current signature right now. So it's just, I don't like it in general, on a relative basis. Yes, I own it, but it's just not my favorite, right? And the 62 I do like better, but this is the Campione version, and just the Campiones I feel on a relative basis, as we see by these market caps, that has a higher market cap than the Campio by a factor of 4 almost. Well, a little less than 4, right? And it's well ahead of the sticker, who I think is way more important. So I have to put this, just from an eye appeal perspective and ultimately from an attractiveness, kind of in this C tier. And then, the visuals on the other Mundi Chromo, I just don't feel like those are great. And I'm summing the market caps here as a reminder to 1.2 million for both the base and the foil version. So those are my tiers. Of course, your preference can be totally different, but I need this calibration of my views before I get to my screaming buy recommendations. But really, it's when you just look at it from this level and you look at the relative market caps here, it screamingly buys to me Este sticker, the Campio, especially the 62. I think I put 63 here. But yeah, sorry, that's supposed to be 62. And it would say, definitely sell probably a lot of the Campiones. And if you didn't, I would say at least selling the 89 Campione would make a lot of sense on a relative basis, right? So let's just take all those words and put it in a graph here. Again, the 71 bis, world of its own. It's super hard to recommend selling that, especially given the position relative to other goats like Gretzky and Mantle and those guys. You can see my other video where I dive into that. But it's not really a super bargain either, right? And if you watch my video there, I'll make the point, which actually USMNT, who, if you don't follow him, follow Alec there. He does a great job looking at auctions, and he just did a great job of selling of a video where he talks about why he sold his 71 bis, because he rotates into other things that haven't run up as much. And I won't tell you exactly what, but I make the point in my video as well that, the market caps, even if Messi seems, fair on a relative basis to other sports, he's at a huge premium to other greats of soccer throughout time, especially in a lot of vintage players. So, if you had some 71 bises and you wanted to rotate into some things that haven't run as much, or vintage players, that is something that, at least according to the numbers and market cap, looks like an amazing, possibility, because there's just the pops on so many key players, right? Whether that's Di Stefano Puskas or Mesa or any of these other greats of the early game, they are just very, very low relative to where Messi is today. Now, again, a lot of people don't care about those players, don't care about the history, don't know about the history, and that's part of the reason why they have low market caps. But I did just want to make that point. 71 bis may be fairly valued in the context of overall sports cards, but within soccer, I mean, this is like the big dog, right? And it's not even close. Like the Paleolifa is, with all the high grades, the PSA 9s itself are $1 million, is still only 25% with all of the hundreds of Alifas out there. Whereas the Messi 71 bis is more than 50. So anyway, let's just continue with Messi here. The screaming kind of buys, would be the Este sticker at a $1.7 million, market cap. The Campio 35, just at a 3.2, huge value relative to the Campione, same picture, and much lower than the 89, and only a slight premium to the 89 Campio, but with such a better picture. So to me, that feels like the Campio 35 is just a screaming buy, as would be the Campio 62. That seems like a screaming buy. And then I would hold. I also can't say, this is kind of assuming that you also have limited, unlimited funds, right? I just not sure I would be selling 71 bises. Yes, they could be going down, over time. But they also just structurally, they're probably in a decent spot here for the long run. Yes, they caught up probably way too quickly for my beliefs, but I feel like it's just, if you don't need to sell to rotate into other things, I would generally classify that as a hold, as I would with the Campio, the Campio 89. Even though I don't love the 89, the Campio version here just has a relatively reasonable market cap that I wouldn't be just rushing out to sell Campios, because Campios, as you notice, are all three of the Campios are on the left-hand side of my ledger between buy and hold, right? So you've got two that are clear buys to me and one that's a hold. Whereas all three of the Campione, team set Messis are in the sell mode for me. And then, probably the most controversial take here that a lot of people will probably have an issue with is selling sell the Mundi Chromo. And Mundi Chromo is, one of the more graded, Messi rookie cards. And it's not even that I don't like the Mundi Chromo. I do. Again, I own, multiple copies of the Mundi Chromo. I like it. I like the fact that it's probably the first card issued. What I don't like is the almost $10 million market cap versus the Este sticker at less than 20% of that. That to me just feels like a massive disconnect. So again, it's not that I don't like it. It's just on a relative basis to the Este sticker, I would be all over the sticker, and I would be selling the Mundi Chromo. Again, likely to be an unpopular opinion, given the fact that there's so many Mundi Chromos out there. So there's a lot of owners of them, and there aren't many owners of the Panini Este sticker. But I figured, this is at the base level when we're talking about, fun kind of look at the best Messi rookie cards and the relative prices. This is what the conclusion that I came to. So, I hope that you enjoyed my view and how I look at it. And, if you have different ones, that's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I don't change the market. The market is the market. And the market currently has the market caps at the level that they are right here, saying the number two player is Mundi Chromo. Okay, that's what the market's telling us right now. I happen to disagree with the market a bit, but again, the market is right right now. The question is where the market goes tomorrow. We don't know. I don't know. You don't know. If I did, I'd be retired and I'd be all in on those cards. And I'm not retired. I got a day job. So anyway, here's the data. I have it like in really small print here. I'm realizing, which is really hard to read, but you would notice what I calculate here are, and by the way, I was using the 1.5 private sale for the Messi 71 bis, and I was using a 75K for the Este sticker 10, even though that has not traded in a while. So that is a relatively large extrapolation. You can see some of these purple things are where I filled in, but these are low grades, don't really affect the numbers. In general, another interesting analysis that comes out of this is kind of the relative premiums from one grade to another. You know, generally, depending on the pops of the 10s, and I think the market's pretty good about this, is you know, from a 8 to a 9 is typically somewhere between 2 to 3x of the 8 price, depending on where that is. And then from the 9 to the 10 is typically around, you know, 5 to 10 times the 9 to the 10 price. So interesting kind of exponential you know, value multiplier as you go from up the range. On most of the lower ranges, when you go, you know, up or down, it's, you know, somewhere between, you know, 30 and 100% from grade to grade. Obviously it highly depends on the card and the pop. And I think the market, when I analyze this, is pretty good about kind of assessing the relative bumps from grade to grade on the Messi cards. So here's this. I also included, you know, the Pele, you know, just to show you that he had a 12 million, you know, market cap. That puts it, this is on the Alifa, so that puts it at about, you know, slightly above the Mundi Chromo Messi. Now, of course, Pele has many other rookies as well, so that may be the cause for another video someday. And then I also left on here some Cristiano Ronaldo, where his Mega Cracks card, it comes in at 12 million, more or less the same as the Alifa, so pretty close to the Mundi Chromo. And if you were to ask me, what would I rather have, a Mega Cracks CR7 or a Mundi Chromo Messi? You know, I know this is a Messi video, but I'd probably take the CR7 Mega Cracks myself. And then interestingly, the sticker for Ronaldo, as he only has 2 rookies, is 3.4 million market cap against the Este Messi sticker that's 1.7. So the aggregate value of the Cristiano Ronaldo rookie sticker is twice that of the Este. Another screaming reason why I'm like, the Messi Este sticker is super cheap on a relative basis. No investment advice. Hope you enjoyed the data, and you know, I look forward to your guys' comments, questions, hopefully likes and subscribes along with that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.